So
So it's sort of like playing God.
basically,
Okay, and what do you think? Like,
we
would
talk
you
about that.
do it
We talk about that a lot in this fucking podcast, bro.
about playing God?
About like people trying to play God and people trying to manipulate things to suit them for whatever they want. But at the end of the day, somehow it always fucks up because we're not gods. We're not,
You
as much
think
as we want
those
to
you
believe.
think those are murky waters to get into?
I mean, uh, it's nice to the idea of having the ability to correct a genetic disorder that somebody might have, um, that otherwise wouldn't be able to be fixed. But what are the implications of that technology being available for other things? Like
Yeah, the
can
thing also is that if you're able to avoid, because you could detect it early, a kid that will be born with like a disability, is it wrong to, like, I guess terminate it prematurely so that it, because you're able to know before, like, I guess those are the weird questions that are gonna bring like morality into play, and I'm not really
right.
sure how I feel about it. Part of me says, well, I mean, if we're able to fix something, we should.
Mm-hmm.
But then is there an argument to, well, any living creature should be allowed to live, however, we shouldn't interfere, you know?
Hmm. I think like should any living okay so any living creature that is born as is can should be allowed and should be helped if they're born with a disability that prevents them from living a normal life. Should we use the technology to try to correct it pre-birth or even preconception? Like this is like before you guys even mate. Like, all right, get your genetic, get your sperm and your eggs, genetically modify those things, then have them unite and then produce an offspring. Like you, when you bring your child into the world, you always want the best for your child. You always want the best scenario, best situation for them coming up. So I would argue that I would be into looking into some sort of technology towards this,
I
but
mean, it only seems like logical, right? Like, that you
it's definitely
could.
it's logical. It's not emotional. Like you'd have to take emotion out of that because
But
then you
it also feels like one of
or
those things that people will be like, oh, yeah, that's not cool. But if it's them, then yeah, let me do it. You know what I mean?
right, right.
Like this is one of those topics where people is murky, but it's like I think Dave Chappelle had a good joke on it. He's like, it's like, you want to know my stance on abortion? It depends. Generally, I'm not for it, but if it's me, then
That may be gone.
yeah. So I think it's important to recognize where like the hypocrisy would fall, right? Like,
Hmm. And also
because
you have to consider that this probably takes money. Like obviously a poor person won't be able to have this resource available to them to
I mean,
produce this perfect child.
this gives for such a long debate with so many tangents, because this, if this happens, there's gonna be the discussion where like also rich people have access to making babies better and the poor don't. And then
That
what if the poor say like the government should subsidize, like, it would be such like a shit, like, it's crazy, right? But it's not far fetched from reality.